All right, guys, wanted to give a quick overview of the trailer I just wrapped up building. I started with a old beat up double jet ski trailer. It was basically stripped down to the frame, and wanted to build something to haul 2 kayaks as well as my storage box and rod lockers. With upgrading to the Bonafide XTR 130, my previous trailer was not going to be sufficiently wide enough to haul that kayak how I wanted it to ride, so it was time to start over. So what we went with is walk plate for decking. I did have to weld some additional support structure underneath in the frame before putting the walk deck on. From there we added some uprights with crossbars for the rod lockers on top. These uprights may look permanent, but they are in fact removable. It will take a little bit of work. They are simply in stake pockets cut into the deck with bolts below, and then I have a U-bolt holding it to the toolbox in the front just to prevent it from wobbling just a little bit, since those 45-degree support arms are not welded to the deck, so it does rock slightly without that U-bolt in place. From there we added rigging lights that I had on my last trailer. So you have one spot on each side for each kayak, one in the back to illuminate the back end of both the kayaks and help with backing. We ended up sanding down and repainting the whole trailer. I used Rust-Oleum Rust Reform and Seal. It's an undercoating paint. Finishes with a nice matte rubbery finish. Looks pretty good, went on very well. I removed the original fenders that were pretty banged up, as well as the original rims, and replaced with these plastic bolt-on fenders and new aluminum rims that I procured on Amazon. Replaced all the lighting with LED submersibles, just gave it an updated look. A little bit of a smoky lens look to it all the way around. They turned out pretty sharp. Spare tire, as you can see, hanging from the crossbars there. And then I took my toolbox off of my last trailer and mounted it up front here. Plenty sufficient to hold basically everything: paddle, life jacket, all my tackle, motor guide, graphs, anything I would want to put in there. In order to make all of this work how I wanted it to work, we ended up removing the 4-pin wiring harness and replaced with a 7-pin wiring harness. So now I have onboard power, constant power, which runs into the box, to this 12-volt power supply here, which currently powers the lights, and then I have an additional port for onboard charging if needed. I still need to clean up the wiring in there, but that's how that all works. And then those lights have a switch here to turn on those rigging lights off and on. Previously, when I was running just a 4-pin, I just spliced it in and would need to have my headlights on in order for power to be sent to these lights. But now with that 7-pin, I have constant power. So nice little improvement we made there, running that 7-pin harness. Other than that, that's pretty much it. I do need to get some bunks mounted on here. I have 10-foot 3-inch PVC at home to mount. I need to get the kayak up on the trailer and get appropriate spacing for those bunks. The only reason I'm using bunks, not only just to prevent abrasion of the hull on the walk plate, but also to make sure the curvature of the kayak can clear the wheel wells. Once I get the kayak on here, I'll kind of determine if I'm going to have any conflict with that wheel well or not. The space from the upright to the outside of the deck is sufficiently wide enough to house the XTR, at least at the midsection on back, but with that wider front casting deck on it at 40.5 inches. A little concerned that I won't be able to clear that wheel well when loading and offloading, but like I said, once we get the kayak on here, that'll kind of determine if I can get by without the bunks. I'll probably keep them off for the time being. You know, with wet launching, I won't be rubbing on the trailer a whole lot when loading and unloading. And like I said, this paint does finish with a nice rubberized coat, so it's not overly abrasive. But more to follow on that. Once I get the kayak on there, we'll do a little update so you all can see how that rides. But I left room on here on the crossbars for an additional rod locker. I do intend to do some tournament travel with a fishing partner, so I wanted to make sure that a rod locker could go up there as needed. I'll also move my bazooka if need be to give more room on those crossbars, but they're not suitable for anything but rod lockers. They're plenty sufficient for rod lockers though, but definitely couldn't put an additional kayak up there, which shouldn't be a problem. But there you have it. Pretty excited to get the kayak on there and get out fishing. This is a massive upgrade over my last trailer. I think all in, including the trailer frame and buying some steel locally and piecing all that together with the necessary hardware I needed and the lighting upgrade, I'm probably under $1,500 in total cost, so couldn't really say no to that. It's been a fun couple of weeks working on this.